exactly what caregivers do. They support the individual as they go through their cancer fight and their cancer battle. Now we come to a special part in tonight's program where we hear from a survivor and from a caregiver. You'll be touched by these stories because I know these ladies' hearts. One, because I've been married to Lynne for 19 years, and she's a cancer survivor. In a few minutes you'll hear from Nancy Fluker, and she's become one of my dearest friends since we've joined Wilsonville Baptist Church, and she's been a caregiver. So we'll first hear from Lynne, and then we'll hear from Nancy Fluker.
Good evening. I am here tonight to share with you why I have a passion for the American Cancer Society. I am a colon cancer survivor. In August of 2010, I went to my family doctor for an annual checkup. During this appointment, my doctor said, "Lynne, you're turning 50 soon. We need to have a colonoscopy." I said, "Well, let's go ahead and do it because I have no reason to think that there's anything that's going to show up." Well, I was wrong. After the test, I woke up and I was told I had cancer. Hearing that C word was scary, and then again I thought, well, we'll just do surgery and we'll get rid of it, no problem. August the 30th, 2010, I went in for surgery again, thinking everything was going to be okay. But that was not the case. The doctor told me he removed 9 inches of my colon, and he also found cancer in my lymph nodes, which meant I was considered a stage 3 colon cancer patient. Now that C word was scary, and I didn't expect to hear it. Our middle son was getting married in September, and I was determined I was not going to have anything change his wedding plans. That day was very special for him and Amber. I was going to walk down the aisle. Lee and I were going to escort Justin down the aisle just as planned, and I was going to have that mother and son dance. 2 weeks after my surgery, I was on that plane to Dallas, Texas, and Lee and I walked our son down the aisle, and I had that dance with my son. I will be thankful for that day. October 5th, 2010, I was celebrating my 50th birthday. And guess how I spent that day? In the chemo chair for my first infusion. I will admit to you, I cried leaving the house that morning. I cried when we pulled into the parking lot. And I cried as they started that drip. But you know what? That first treatment, it wasn't so bad. My neighbor was there with balloons and a birthday crown to help me keep my mind off of it. I remember that evening, my sister from Florida, she called me and she said, "Sissy, what did it feel like?" Well, I started laughing and I just said back to her, "Sissy, you know the Raid commercial where they're spraying all the bugs? That's how I felt. I felt like the chemo was spraying all those cancer cells." My journey through chemo was the toughest journey I have ever experienced. You see, my husband, he has always kidded me that I was high maintenance. And he even told my doctor that I was high maintenance. If I'm going to do something, I want to do it full blast. And that is what's happened with my chemo. Before you start chemo, they go over all the possible side effects. Well, little Miss High Maintenance here had all the side effects plus more. I had to stop chemo for a month because I had a skin issue and it was not clearing up, and they were afraid that I was going to get infections. More important, they really wanted me to complete 12 rounds of chemo, and if my memory's right, I think I was at maybe 6 rounds. The doctor didn't think I would be able to complete all 12 rounds, but I did it. My doctor said because of the way my body reacted to the chemo, it turned him into a research doctor. I am thankful to the American Cancer Society for providing the funds for my doctor to do the research to figure out why my body was reacting the way it was and to figure out how to adjust my chemo so I could complete all 12 rounds. The chemo did leave me with some permanent side effects, one of them being I lost the lining to my tongue. If you've ever been out to eat with me, you know, and the girls here know, I love French fries. I will order my French fries with no salt, and people look at me like I'm crazy. But the salt irritates my tongue. But you know what? I can live with that. For you who've had cancer, you know the first goal you have is to celebrate your 5 years of being cancer-free. I stand here tonight and say in 3 months, I will be doing that 5-year happy dance. cancer, I would say these two words, joy and prayer. The word joy means the first letter J, you put Jesus first in your life. The letter O, you put others second, and the letter Y, you put yourself last. I had to learn to do this starting from the day I was told I had cancer. Every single day, I would remind myself of the verse, Psalms 46:10. Be still and know I am God. I had to remind myself that God is first, no matter what I was experiencing that day. I love to sing. I would sing throughout the day the old hymn, I Surrender All. But you know what? I wanted to get deeper with that song. I really cried out to Jesus exactly what I was surrendering. So I changed the word all to I surrender cancer. I completed 12 rounds of chemo in 7 months. And each day I sang that song every single morning. Because of cancer, I experienced the true meaning of having a closer relationship with God. And no matter what I was going through, nothing was going to steal my joy. My second word, prayer, means everything to me. Without prayer, where would I be today? My husband each day would hold my hand and pray with me. When we pulled up to the doctor's office, he would not get out of the car until we held hands and we prayed. Not only my husband, but my friends and family were praying for me. It is so important to have prayer warriors. I was getting cards from people I did not even know, from churches I never attended. It is so important to be part of a church family that is there for you. I can personally say Wilsonville Baptist is that kind of church because last year, Jesus called my daddy home. Just recently, I had knee surgery, Lee had the shingles, and members of this church made sure we were covered in phone calls, cards of prayers, emails telling us they were praying for us, and meals. Pastor Steve and Leanne, your hugs and words given to me a few Sundays ago meant all the world to me. Thank you. I am so thankful and proud to say I am a member of a church that believes in the power of prayer. Now, before my husband comes up and tells me, Miss High Maintenance, your time is up, I want to leave you with this statement my doctor told me in May of 2011, which was the day I had my first CT scan after completing chemo. He said, Lynn, with everything you have gone through, you've never lost your smile. I looked at him and I said, that is because I believe Jesus is not finished with me.